Are we good, Erica?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Camille. I'm going to be talking. Well, my plan for this evening's discussion was to talk with you all about fears. And the title of the session is What Do I Have to Fear? But I wanted to spend this evening just talking with you all who are viewing, listening, or actively engaging online with us, as Kayla will be hopefully. I want to talk with you all about how to convert your fears into love and dreams. And so, while we don't have as many participants as I had hoped, I'm just going to say who needs to be here is exactly who is here. And so that's who we're going to go with. So my first question to our listening audience, and for the older ladies who are on, feel free to chime in, or the older girls, feel free to chime in. My first question is, do you feel like you are living your dreams? And actually, let me share my screen because I do have a couple of slides here. Hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, so hopefully my screen is showing.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not seeing like the little box with the pictures in it, Erica?
No.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so my first question is, what do you dream of? What is your dream? And it doesn't have to be like I dream of being a engineer. It could be, you know what, my dream is that I, get my driver's license, or that I, make it to participate in the prom, or it could be that my dream is that I travel the world. But I want to hear from folks, what is it that you dream of? What is it that you dream of when you're like, ideally, this is what life would be like for me? What do you dream of?
I dream of, well, I've already started creating my own business. And after high school, I want to go to college and I guess major in business and management. And then I want to create a Black Wall Street in Greensboro.
You said you want to create a Black Wall Street what?
In Greensboro.
Oh, in Greensboro. Okay. Got it. Wonderful. That is phenomenal. I love it. So let me ask you. So first question is, what do you dream? Tell me, what are your fears?
Not having enough money for college, or I guess I could say hanging out with the wrong people that'll lead me into not doing what I planned on doing. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay. So what would you say is the thing that drives you? What would you say is the thing that drives you?
Oh, I could say family. They have been a very big support in helping me continue to follow my dreams.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for the fears that you have, so your fears are connecting with the wrong peer group, hanging with the wrong crowd, not having enough money for college. All of those are very real, very, very real fears. I'm sure some things that your mom and all of us that are on can relate to. But how do these things show up in your everyday life? So whether it's your fears or your dreams, how do they show up for you in a very real way in your life? So as you're going about, interacting with other friends or other students or peers or teachers, or other people in your community, what is the thing that you connect with? Is it your fears? Is it your dreams? What is it that kind of drives you?
Let me think about that for a second.
Okay. And it could be, I mean, so if I think about, my life as a teenager, I can't say that fear drove me at all. It was the thing that drove me was whatever was happening in the moment. And I didn't think about whether it was pushing me toward my dream or whether it was something that I feared. But one thing that I know commonly happens with a lot of people is that they don't necessarily face their fears, or they don't actualize and realize their dreams because there is something that's holding them back. And a lot of times it is fear. And so part of why, Kayla, for you and hopefully for others who will listen to this later, I want you all to think about your dreams, your fears, and what it is that drives you, so that you can think about, how you can channel that which motivates you. And what happens to a lot of people is that our fears or lack of information or knowledge a lot of times hinders us from going where it is that we want to go. A lot of times the fears that we have, we don't face because we don't necessarily see our limits. Really, the thought I have is the fears we don't face become our limits, and they become our limitations, or the lack of information that we have creates a fear of an unknown that oftentimes can stifle our growth. For some of us, and I say us because this existed for me too, is that fear of something killed many of the dreams that I had. And the fear that I had was my fear of failure. But really what it should have been is that I had my hunger for success should have been able to conquer my fear of failure. And so one of the things that I want to pitch today is thinking about how you conquer your fear with love. And so like for you, Kayla, you just talked about like one of the things you strive to do is to have your own business, to go to college, to start a Black Wall Street. All of those things are phenomenal things, but there are a lot of obstacles and things that you're going to encounter, whether it's, let's say, for example, with the college thing, not having enough money. Well, money may come to you, but it may be that, okay, the school that you get the most money for is in a small town in Michigan, and that's far away from home. It's really cold. I don't know anyone there. So maybe you may second guess whether that should be the opportunity that you take just because you're reticent of fear of the unknown. Or let's say you take that leap of faith, but while you're there, like you have opportunities to go study abroad and do other things, but it's not necessarily within your comfort zone. And so the thought that I have is how we can conquer fear is thinking about, what your desire and love for going to school and be educated, that's superseding the fear you may have of going to a place that's different or being around people who don't look like you, who are just different from what you're used to. So those norms, or taking opportunities because, it's like, I just don't know what I'm going to get. And so not allowing that to be the thing that hinders you from going where it is that you want to go. And so that's why I titled this session, like, what do I have to fear? Because really you have nothing to fear. I always tell young people, the world is your oyster. And so it's all about you reaching down and grabbing it and taking advantage of every opportunity that you have, even if it flies in the face of kind of what you thought you were going to do, or I don't want to say should be doing, but kind of what you thought you should be doing or where you should be going. But here's the thing, fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. And so many of us just never reach our potential or do the things that we aim to do or should be doing because of our fear of something. And so that's my pitch to you all, is just to not having fear, not having your actions or what you do in life be rooted in your fear of something. But also being aware of how fear manifests itself within you. And that's something a lot of us are not necessarily aware of. And so that's something else too that I wanted to spend some time talking about, is how fear can potentially manifest itself in all of us. so that once we have a level of acknowledgement about it, then we can do something to stop it. And so some of the things you talked about, Kayla, was not having enough money for college, hanging with the wrong crowd. But do you have a sense of how those things, how those fears or other fears, how they show up for you?
Yes. I had a friend who literally does almost the same thing I do. Has her own business. She dances, has extracurricular activities, and she's getting ready to leave high school. And her parents didn't have enough money to send her for college. But instead of telling her that, they got her hopes up. She sent her college applications in and got in. And then when it's time for her to leave, she can't leave because they don't have enough money. And I feel like that's gonna happen to me. Like I feel like I know that story, and that story was placed for me because that might happen to me. So that's what I fear of most about college.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, and that is a very real fear to have. And so taking that into consideration, it's like, so how do you take that and how do you move forward? That means that you become more, then you have those conversations with your parents. Like, how much do we have? How much do we not have? Like, where should I be looking? What are my options? You know, are we looking for the universe of money that can exist? And if we don't have the money, then what is it that we can be doing to acquire it? Or what is within the realm of possibility for me? Or maybe it's, you know what, I want to go away to school, but I can't. So it makes sense for me to do 2 years locally at the community college. And then from there, go apply somewhere else where I may be able to get more money, because the price of college is just astronomical these days. So that is a very real fear that you have. But for you, it's okay, because of that experience, you're going to take that fear and translate that into action for you so that it doesn't have to be a fear, so that you have a very clear picture of what resources are available to you right now and what will be made available to you in the future, so that you can therefore make the necessary choices and thinking about where to go to school, where to not go to school. Like, it helps you know how much you need to be ensuring that your grades are good so that you can be so that you can take advantage of scholarships and grants and things like that. So it's really about you taking, okay, this is the fear I have about not having enough money for school. What is it that I need to do to use that fear to help build me up so that I don't be, that's not my situation. So what would you say are some of the things that you're actively acting upon to help you get through that?
Start saving for my business. I had a meeting with a mentor, and basically she was just telling me, when you make a profit of money or when you make a lot of money from business, don't pocket that money. You can put money back into the business. So like 50 go back into the business, and 45 you save, and then 5% comes to you. So if you make $100, 50 goes to the business, like maybe 45 you save, and then I pocket myself $5. That's how that will work. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be a good way, because business can take you far. And then I do a lot of events and a lot of workshops, and I speak at events now. So I feel like that would help me get to where I need to be. And scholarships will definitely help me for that college thing.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it definitely sounds like you're on the right track. And the other thing for you too is thinking about, you know, what is it that you want to get out of going to college? Because college is amazing, college is great, but there are a lot of people who have been super successful that did not go to college. And so being focused on, you know, I'm going to college because college is going to help me do this thing. I think is important, because if you look at college from a business sense, and it sounds like you are very, very business minded, college is super expensive. I mean, there are folks that I know, thank God this is not my story, who go to college and come out $150,000, $200,000 in debt, and they're going to be paying for college for the rest of their life. And so while it has helped them in terms of getting to the career that they desire, a lot of them question, was it really worth it because of how much of what they're making they're having to spend to pay back, or it has really hampered them? And so the same approach that you're taking to thinking about business, I hope is the approach that you're taking to thinking about college. I mean, the fact that you have such sound fiscal knowledge at the age of 15, the conversation, the experience that your friend had relative to college and being able to afford college, to me is the same. You can apply that same skill and knowledge to your discussion or your decisions around deciding where to go to college, how much to spend on college, and maximizing your collegiate opportunity. And the fact that you have a business, those are all things that you can do while you're in college to help continue to have some form of income. So the thing, and it's interesting, I mean, having this conversation with you, because while the fear that you have is real, there's so much that you're doing that puts you just in a different category for folks who aren't necessarily connected to their fears, but more so you're realizing your dreams, and you're doing that at a very young age, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. But the thing you also have to keep in mind is that as you continue down this road, challenges are going to happen. One of the things that I tell folks all the time, and I'm certain you've heard this or know this, every person that has been successful. Oh, actually, let me ask you this. What is the one thing that all successful people have in common?
Probably that they failed.
Yes, and that they have failed many, many times over. So, so that's the thing to keep in mind for you, because for many of us, number one, for some of us, our fear of failure hampers us. But when failure actually happens, it stops many people from continuing on. And for everyone that has been successful, regardless of what manner they've been successful, they have failed a lot. And if you look at even folks who are, among the world's richest people, they have taken a lot of falls and a lot of hits, but they had enough confidence in themselves that they were adamant that they were going to keep going. So that's the other thing for you to keep in mind, is that failure is a part of the journey, and in everything that you do, you're going to fail at something, but it's learning how to take that experience of failing and learning from it and applying that to where you go next in life. So a couple of things that I just want to share here, some pieces that I thought were very helpful and that are helpful for me, is this quote here, which is, being fearful is part of being alive. Accept it and move through it. Don't let fear of what could happen make nothing happen. Again, there are so many folks who just their fear of the unknown stops them. And that was my story when I left high school and when I went to college. I always wanted to be a pediatrician, but I felt like I was afraid. I felt like I wasn't smart enough. Now I've been successful, and I think God worked the way that things were supposed to work itself out. But I allowed my fear to drive me, or it caused me to not act in the way that I so desired when I was your age. I think had I had the confidence that you display and have, Kayla, my life definitely would have been different. So, one of the things here is just don't let fear of what could happen make nothing happen. And so for you, like your fear of not having enough for college, don't let that be the thing that stops you from seeking out all of those opportunities for money, for ensuring that your grades are top notch, for, connecting with folks who can, a lot of stuff is just about networking, knowing people who know people who can really help support you along that journey to getting your education. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And that is it. Again, a couple of things I just want to emphasize for folks relative to fear is the fears we don't face become our limits. And these are things that us as adults can also think about. Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. And allow your fears to meet your strengths. And for me, of all of the things that I can say to folks who may be watching or listening, is that allow your fears to meet your strengths. And for me, my strength comes from God. And I know that there is not anything, if God says it can be done, it can be done. And I know that I am far more smarter than I could ever think. And my strength comes from him. And so if he says it, it can be done and it will be done. And so I just admonish the folks who are hearing this, who are listening to this, or even for the young people that you all support in your life, is just really imparting expectation within yourself and onto them, so that they know anything that they dream or believe is achievable. But it also comes with hard work. It also comes with folks falling down and having those experiences where they will fail from time to time, because it is going to happen, but it's how you get up and learn from that and keep moving forward and really working hard to convert your fear into love. And if you convert what it is you're fearing most and focus on what it is you love to help drive out that fear, then you'll do fine. So thank you all for listening. Kayla, thank you so much for engaging me in this conversation. I look forward to hearing more about what you're doing. Your mom and I have already connected, and I hope the event last Saturday went good. But would love to hear more about what you have going on. There are a couple of girls that I mentor directly who are in college that I would love to connect you with, that have businesses themselves, and are doing really well. So I'll talk to your mom about that.